Protests have erupted in Reservoir Hills in KwaZulu-Natal. Residents who've lost almost everything they have are angry with government. More than 300 people have died, and that number is expected to rise as others remain unaccounted for this hour. eNCA senior reporter Dasen Tatia is in Reservoir Hills this hour, joining us now live from there for the latest. Dasen, good afternoon. What's happening there today?
Well, Pradan, in the past few minutes, police had moved in here and dispersed the crowd. Initially, they were gathered here, where I'm standing now, and they later moved up to a main road, the M19, up at the top there, and that's where we found a group gathered. They had placed items on the road. They blocked that roadway completely, so traffic stopped moving. And it was just a couple of minutes ago that police had moved in and they fired stun grenades, tear gas. They dispersed the crowd quickly, many of them running down the bank there and back here to the informal settlement to take refuge. So right now there's a bit of a standoff between police and residents. They are over on this side to my left. Police are on the right. They've secured the off-ramp there. We saw a Nyala that's just driving around this immediate vicinity, and it's just making sure that there are no other disruptions. So right now, police are just patrolling the general area, but residents are adamant, Pradan. They've been talking to us, and they say that it's not going to end here. This is going to be, the beginning of their message, if I could call it that.
What are their main grievances, Jason? What are their main grievances?
That they... Yeah, look, it relates to the issue of housing. I mean, you would have seen, I'll show it to you again, Pradan, the state of their informal settlement here that had come up. They want to be moved out of here. And we heard it for the first time yesterday, and they say that government is not responding to that call. But this is the claim that they make, that they have not received any indication of when or where they would be relocated, and they've endured a few storms here. And with each one, you find a few more homes are being washed away. I mean, this is the worst damage that we've seen in this area, even though we've reported on floods here before. So simply put, Pradan, they want to make sure that government comes here and gives them an answer, and gives them an answer to that question of when are we going to move and where is that going to be.
In terms of emergency relief, has there been any action there on that ground? I mean, just the other day, I think it was yesterday, you spoke to one of the residents there who'd lost everything.
He did, and in fact, that was such a sad tale. Unfortunately, it's one of maybe a few hundred of people that are going through that. So while there has been humanitarian aid in the sense of normal people, non-profit organizations and others coming through to deliver whatever they can, it's not on a scale large enough to cater to everyone. Everyone is really doing whatever they can. What's more concerning now is that there was a claim that from some of these residents, and we'd obviously have to check this out, but they say that they were being housed at a temporary shelter. They were at a school here nearby, but some of them can no longer go there and they're not allowed there anymore. So this is obviously the more immediate concern. This, some say, may have actually sparked this protest now, because it's the question of where do they go to from here. So some of them at the moment are helping their neighbors out. They're housing them during this time. But for those that don't have that kind of luxury or are not able to do that, the question remains, where are they going to sleep tonight if they don't have any temporary accommodation to go to after losing everything in their homes?
The police have dispersed the protesters, as you
But then I must also alert you, if you'd allow me. I see that sorry to interrupt you there, Pradan. I see that the police are moving in here, just behind me. So they're trying to clear the area now.
Yes, and earlier you said they had dispersed protesters, but they are on the move now.
Yeah, so I see that they're trying to clear the area. I'm just going to give you a shot of that as we follow them, just to see what they're going to do next. I see that they are engaging with some of them. They are armed with rubber bullets, and they're just prepared to disperse this crowd. So they're now engaging with them and making sure that they clear the way. I think they're actually heading towards that debris on the road there, because remember, that's what's blocking the off-ramp that we see here now. So they've just stopped here at the site, and they are now making sure that no one is found, because the instruction that they had given earlier when the crowd had gathered was that they want everyone to disperse. They don't want to see anyone that is on this road, no one that's here on the main road or the off-ramp, so that they can do their work. The aim now is to get traffic flowing again, to make sure that all of these obstructions are out of the way. I see that another Nyala has just arrived. It's coming up behind these police officers, so definitely moving in. Earlier I told you they were making a bit of a wide orbit around the area and securing it. They're now moving closer to make sure that they can get things moving here again. Some of the police officers picking up the rocks, clearing this area out, which is already badly damaged to start off with. Remember, this road was inaccessible at the beginning of the aftermath of the storms, and it was the community members that had chipped in here and helped to clear it. But now it seems like it's blocked once again, and now police quickly trying to move to make sure that they get rid of those blockages.
The bulk of the protesters, as you said, Destin, a short while ago, were dispersed. We saw the visuals of the stun grenades. There's nobody on the street currently. The police busy removing some of the debris, like rocks and pieces of wood and stuff like that. But you were saying they told you earlier that they will not stop their protest. But for now, they are not there. They've been dispersed.
They have been. In fact, just off to my right here, that's where I think the worst of it is. I hope you can see that. There's a Nyala parked on the side. The police officers are working to clear that area. On the left, the same thing is happening. And then obviously behind me is where the residents are. So the police haven't moved into the informal settlement. They generally don't. They just want to secure the area around here. So what we've seen in the past, and I'm not preempting anything here, Brad Dan, is that we've seen that these types of protests, even here, they tend to start and there's a pause in between while police do this, and eventually you find communities moving out. So that's generally why these officers normally stay here for a bit longer, to make sure that everything is still under control. But even if they do that, and even if they secure the area today, the indication that we've been given by those that we've spoken to is that they will continue to try to get the attention of government in whatever way they see fit. So whether that means that the protest will continue on another day, that remains to be seen. Ultimately, it's up to this community to decide how they want to handle it. But right now, the priority for police is to make sure that whatever their concerns are, it doesn't spill over onto these main roads.
Dustin, are you aware of any arrests that were made earlier when the police moved in there to disperse the protesters using stun grenades? Were there any arrests?
No, not at all. I just want to walk a bit closer to the other end where that's happening. I didn't see anyone getting arrested yet. Sometimes those arrests don't happen immediately. You find that police identify those that were involved or those that may have been at the forefront, and then make those arrests a bit later on, either when they track them down or they spot them, or even when a protest may occur again. So for now, no arrest as far as I know. I will try to get an official confirmation from police. As I mentioned, right now, it seems like the priority at hand here is to make sure that this area is accessible and safe. We did see that there was a vehicle passing earlier, just as we were getting here, in fact, and something was thrown at it. I think it may have been a bottle or a rock, and that's the danger that is faced by passing motorists, which is why it's important to have a police presence here, because those types of items and those projectiles come from within the informal settlement or behind these homes, and you can't really see them. If you look at the proximity of the shacks to the road, it is quite close, and it also offers a hiding place for anyone that may want to be there and attack any of the passing cars.
Yeah, I mean, this informal settlement where you are at the Reservoir Hills, looking at the visuals we are bringing now post the flooding, we can see the water has receded somewhat, but some of those shack dwellings are really on the edge of some of those holes that have opened up, those gaping holes. So it's very dangerous at the moment.
They are. In fact, look at this. Just here off to my left, there's a toilet block that is hanging dangerously close to the edge there. And there are many homes where there's almost nothing left. that's the danger that is now posed, because there could be further collapses here as the community continues to live here. I think the gentleman we spoke to yesterday, Sabelo Zungu, had put it quite frankly, and he says, but where do you rebuild? The ground itself has broken, and that's what's happened here. Now it's just moved them closer together. The situation is a lot more cramped. There are more people there. There's more activity there. So the danger has definitely increased in terms of the safety for the residents here. And I think it could explain the desperation that we saw today and the desperation in the pleas from the people that we spoke to here about what next. They feel that their time is running out as you know, we're expecting further rains, as bad weather comes in. What's going to happen next when such a huge chunk of this land has completely fallen away like this?
And there's more rain forecast for the weekend. I spoke to a meteorologist just yesterday here on eNCA afternoon, saying they're focusing about 60% chance of showers and thunder showers in KZN tomorrow and Saturday. That's not good news at all. But I understand, Desson, that the people there on the ground say they're also not happy by the fact that no government official has visited them yet since the flooding, or has somebody pitched up there to engage with that disgruntled community.
Well, we haven't seen anyone yet, and what they claim at this point, just walking around here, is that no one has come. We want to also get a response from government, both local and provincial government, on that, to find out if there's any intention for anyone to come here and address these concerns. But I think that is actually the main concern that they are facing now, is when are they going to get those answers? When we spoke to people yesterday, they were hugely unhappy, and it's being exacerbated by the fact that they are seeing these things. They are hearing reports, for example, that these activities are taking place, that there are people on the ground. So that's what seems to be frustrating them, is the question of why they're not coming here and why they're not listening to these pleas, which have been going on for a long time. We've spoken to people that have lived here for more than 10 years and under these conditions. And they say that if they, or at least those that we've spoken to, they say that if they are given the opportunity to move out of here, they would do so in a heartbeat, because they would not want to live here. Every single time this happens, Prada, and every time that the water washes these shacks away, they lose everything. So they end up starting from scratch, starting from nothing. Documents, clothes, furniture, whatever they have, it's all gone. So that's why this has now become this urgent, because I think this storm, which is one of the worst that we've seen recently, has really sent a strong message that there's a very real danger for people that are living this close to the water's edge.